Hi crafters, Jen Evers with Quality Crafts, and this is what my desk starts looking at like after I've done a bunch of projects and I haven't taken the time to clean up in between, and it's super thick. I mean, there is just tons of stuff here. So I'm going to show you how in fast forward I take care of this stuff and what I do with it. The first thing I want to say is that if there's anything that's large enough to be cut down for a card front, say I could use this, it's almost a half but it's got a crooked cut on it. I just get out my cutter, I go to 4 1/4, I cut it down, and then I either go to 4 1/4 again or I go to 5 1/2 depending on how I want that to be. And those pieces that are the size of a card front, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, I save those and I make a pile of them. The rest of the little pieces of white I save in another area because I can stamp on these. And then anything that I find that could be useful, like a fiber or a die cut that didn't quite cut, this one didn't quite cut, I don't throw them away. I can use them on other projects. This looks like something I must have been working on. Somehow these could, go together as a card, so I will save these as well. So I have one little drawer. Let's see if I can get to that drawer. Yeah, one little drawer here where I save just all kinds of die cuts that I have, like these little guys, so that when I want some mojo for a card I can just reach in here and grab. There's a couple little die cut things that I made, or I should say printables, print and cuts that you can get from online. And then I have my little baggie of already made butterflies in there too. Another drawer I have where I started some projects and I never used them for anything. Those are my Moravian stars. And then yet another one for these type of things. If I find something that I cut it out of and I can use it as a stencil, I keep that in a separate drawer. And then these I would also put aside so that I can make cards with them, but I'll start a little pile. So here we go. Now what I'm left with is one pile that has larger pieces of paper, and the reason why I keep these and I didn't cut them down to card size is because sometimes I like to cut images on my Cameo and then I can use these as scraps for that. I might want to make a box or a 6x6 card of some sort, so I save these. And I'd store them upside like this, you know, on its edge in a shoebox. And I'll show you that in just a moment. The next pile I have are unfinished or slightly finished projects. And I have a folder that I keep these things in. Some of them are just ideas, some of them, you know, whatever. That's how I deal with that. So half-finished projects go into a folder that I have on my shelf. All of these extra images that I had printed off that I have not used yet, that I most likely will. Stamped images, cut and print images, any of that kind of stuff, I will sort into a pocket, a manila file folder, so that I can find them later when I'm looking for images. And I'm just going to write at the top images. Whatever word you choose, that's going to help you remember where your stuff is, because we all think differently. I think I'm going to do that with the rest of these too. Most likely my folder is full. I'm going to call this one Projects Half Done, because I'll remember that. Of course, you saw where I put these. Any of these extra little cutouts, colored pieces, die cuts, whatnot, I just slip into this little drawer. And then here are all the ones that I can use as stencils. I've got a tree and some scissors. And I left these little doggy prints in there so that I would know what they look like. But I could use that as a stencil. This one is a little big. I'm not sure. That one probably will not stay in that drawer. And out of all of those, I ended up with this many card fronts. It's a huge pile. Many of them are just white, so I will probably take out the white ones so I can use those for stamping. I stamp on them for images that I want so I can cut them out. I stamp on them greetings, sentiments, things like that. What else do I use this paper for? Making my own paper, so I'll stamp on it and create my own pattern paper. Use my inks so that they match my project perfectly. That's what I use those for. And all these colored ones will go in the file where I keep these. I've got a little tiny stash right here of some fibers that I had found. I'll just put that back in my fiber bin. And then I saved some of the smaller scraps, and the reason why I do that is because this will join the larger scrap pile in the front of my shoebox, so that when I'm creating ATCs and cards on the fly and things that I want to, I don't want to have to dig through all the things I own. I just dig through this. I find things that match, like, hey, this brown would go really well with that brown. Or this pink would go well with that brown background. Or here's some shiny texture. I could texture this up and add this shiny piece and that would really match. It goes really fast because I've already got little pieces cut up and I can just grab and go. So let me show you the shoebox I put that in. You're gonna laugh. This is my shoebox. I can't even get it all in here. It is ginormously packed. Okay, the entire thing is filled. I could probably fit these, because they're a little bit smaller than my other ones, right in the front here. But this is huge. I don't even think you can see all that. Some of this didn't even really get all the way cut down. Turn it on its side. See? It's just, there's just tons of paper in there. But that's how I keep it, and then I can just pull the shoebox out. And let's see if I can find my container for my papers. This is quite full too. I use a close to my heart stamp keeper box, and I used to have these things in it to separate, but as you can see, I've got just tons of card fronts in here. Got some little ones that I can layer in the front, so that's where I'll put these. The card fronts I cut today, I'll just slide those in with that. So I've got a whole box of them. There's just tons of different colors of papers in here, different patterns, stuff that I have embossed. Let's see if I can find one of those. I've used quite a few of them, and some I've given away. Here's some that I actually made. I keep that on hand. Yeah, I don't see any of the embossed ones in here. There's another one I made. I just cut it down as a card front. So that's where I keep those. And I guess that's it. We've cleaned up the entire pile. So I will take these manila folders of my projects and my images, and I will save those on my shelf right next to where I'm crafting. There's a spot right next to my stamps that I have stuck in there. That way they won't get lost. And that's all I have for you today. So I'll see you next video.